Thank you for watching. So this is the first video I upload to the channel. Let's hope you like it. Please stay until the last story is the best one. You can skip to it, but really each story is very good. Antoine Louis designed the infamous guillotine and was later executed during France's reign of terror using his own invention. Note, its namesake, Dr. Joseph Guillotine, died of natural causes 22 years after the machine was invented. Besides advocating for a more humane method of execution, he had little to do with the machine itself. He was ironically an opponent of capital punishment. After he died, his children petitioned to change the name of the device, but were only granted the permission to change their own. Surprised to not see Hitler here. Except for the joke post, everyone already knows the evil part, but the folly is often glossed over as a "oh, he shot himself." In fact, he went from having everything going right for him to watching his invincible armies beaten on every front. Enemy armies advanced onto German soil, something that didn't even happen in World War I. All his cronies deserted him, with some even vying for his position before he was dead. His body was physically destroyed by stress and drugs administered by his quack physician. He was married while artillery rounds literally fell on the ground over his bunker, and finally he had to commit suicide and have his body burned so it wouldn't be paraded through the streets like Mussolini. There isn't enough karma in the world for this guy, but that's a pretty big fool. It's like, I don't remember in which movie or series. I think it was some of, no, I don't remember. But that a god says, you're a god between cockroaches. It's like that, right? I mean, if Hitler hadn't, made the Jews killing and the racist, well, the crimes of hate, basically, and didn't want to rule over the world, I think he would have been one of the greatest heroes of our time. To grow a country to what it was with just his ability to speak, because he wasn't even German. I mean, I respect that guy, and at the same time, just as everyone, I hate him. Actually, I don't know if you've noticed, but we've been educated to think of a bad person, and the first person you think is Hitler. Well, I just leave you that to think about it. Now let's go to the last story. This one is so good that I can promise you that you'll be happy just to hear it. So let's go. Nikolai Yezhov, head of the Soviet secret police, eventually was arrested, tortured, and executed by the police just as his organization had done to other people. The main leader of the reign of terror during the French Revolution was Maximilien Robespierre. He advocated for most of the guillotine executions, but he was later executed by the guillotine when his suicide attempt failed right before he was arrested and ordered to death by the National Convention that overthrew him. Joseph Stalin was so terrifying to his own people that he even got his own son killed. When he got a heart attack, his doctors were too afraid to help him, so he suffered in his office until he died 2 days later. Sorry for my bad grammar. Yes, too afraid, too afraid, double O. It doesn't matter. I'm glad, I'm a very capitalist pro P person. So, P person. No, I really love capitalism. I'm a believer that if you work hard enough, you thrive. I mean, it's part of an American dream, I know. But hey, everything is possible, right? Sultan Timur, last Mongol emperor of China, decided that the best solution to a country ravaged by plague, pirates, and crop failure was to force peasants to work for free for months at a time without decreasing their tax burden. When this sparked an inevitable rebellion, the emperor had the help of a skilled and loyal general who pushed the rebels back to one of their last cities, and then got dismissed by the emperor for making him look bad. The rebels, close to surrender, took heart and resisted. The display of weakness eventually crippled the emperor's army, resulting in the end of the Yuan and beginning of the Ming. Timur was stupid and hedonistic, and it cost him both palaces and all of China. That part of the reason the US dumped bin Laden's body into the sea is because they wanted to deny him a proper Muslim burial. So, according to bin Laden's own ridiculous theology, the Americans denied him the chance to ever have those 72 virgins. Bonnie and Clyde come to mind. They left a trail of innocent bodies in their wake, but in the end, Texas law reinforcement ambushed them and opened fire on their vehicle. The rain of lead they absorbed turned them into hamburger. Couldn't have happened to nicer people. Famous story. So its accuracy is disputed that an ancient Greek ruler had a bronze bull cast as a torture device. They lock you inside, stoke a fire under it, and roast you alive for entertainment. A story claims that the craftsman who made it for the king was then forced inside as the first victim to taste it. Damn. Well, then later, when the king was violently overthrown, he was the last victim to die in it. Actually, well, as my personal additive to this story, uh, well, it is said that the bull, when you screamed inside the bull, because it's like if you're being roasted, literally, instead of human screams, you would have heard like a bull roar, like a roar, but a very, very chilling one. I don't know, that must have really hurt badly. I think this is this is definitely my favorite history, but it's brutal. How did they say in the movies? Something is advised. Well, I don't remember. It is a brutal story, so please, if you are a sensitive person, just stop the video here. It's my favorite, so here we go. The Bibigar massacre and subsequent reprisal is one of the most beautiful pieces of poetic justice in recorded history. 200 women and children were captured and held in horrific conditions before finally being executed in cold blood. It was so heinous that the soldiers involved refused orders to fire. Butchers, literal butchers, were called in and murdered the women and children one by one with clevers. The bodies were dumped into a nearby well. Unfortunately for them, the British captured the city the next day, and they were not gentle in their reprisal. Rebels confessing to or believed to be involved in the massacre were forced to lick the floor of the Bibigar compound after it had been wetted with water by low caste people while being wiped. The sepoys were then religiously disgraced by being forced to eat, or force-fed, beef in Hindu, or pork if Muslim. The Muslim sepoys were sewn into pig skins before being hanged, and low-caste Hindu street sweepers were employed to execute the high-caste Brahmin rebels to add additional religious disgrace to their punishment. Some were also forced by the British to lick clean buildings stained with the blood of the recently deceased, before being publicly hanged. Most of the prisoners were hanged within direct view of the well at the Bibigar and buried in shallow ditches by the roadside. Others were shot or bayoneted, while some were also tied across the mouths of cannon that were then fired, an execution method initially used by the rebels and the earlier Indian powers such as the Marathas and the Mughals. It is unclear whether this method of execution was reserved for special prisoners or whether it was merely done in the retributive spirit of the moment. This is one of the most brutal stories I've ever heard. Sorry for spelling issues. I'm just starting, you know. I'm not used to read out loud. I'm a, mental reader. I don't know. But I thought this would be very interesting for you. If you like this, I'm going to be uploading a hell of these kind of stories. I take them from Reddit, from Facebook, from YouTube. I take them from everywhere. YouTube comments, of course. Do not steal, content. I don't like to do that. However, well, I'll be bringing a lot of stories, a lot of tales, and I don't know how to say it. It's a very, it will be literaturistic, my channel, but it's a random channel. I will sometimes upload, like tutorials or stuff like that. I'm a very random person, so random things. Well, if you like the video, please subscribe, like, etc. I'm just starting off, and it is proof that if you subscribe to me, you are going to improve your vocabulary. So will I. So please subscribe and you'll be getting lots of content like this. Thank you very much. Well, with better spelling. Thank you very much and good evening. So guys, we only have 3 stories left. Please stay to the last one. It's really the best one. You'll be grateful to have heard that last one. If you want to, you can skip to it, but really please just stay here until we get there. It's not that much time.